Hello, I am Abhishek Nagar from Career Point School of Pharmacy. I am here to represent a topic on pharmaceutical biotechnology. So, as evident from the figure or the diagram in the picture, we come to know that biotechnology is a branch of the sciences which deals with a special type of fragment, which is the fragment of DNA, which we usually called as gene. Now, how this process is different from the other process. For example, in the pharmaceutical sciences, we deals with the synthetic chemistry, herbal extraction and isolation work. But how this work is different from the other work. For example, in case of the pharmaceutical microbiology, we deals with the production of antibiotics. So these antibiotics are again the compound. In case of the synthetic chemistry, we deals with the compound. Herbal, we deals with the compound. But now in the case of this, that is the biotechnology, or in the pharmaceutical sciences, specifically pharmaceutical biotechnology, we deals with the organisms, living organisms, maybe bacteria, even the virus, for the production of useful drugs and proteins, antibodies for the maintenance of health and for ailment of diseases. Now the introduction part. So as evident from the picture, we can see that it is the diagram which is showing the formulation which is known as capsule. It is a very widely used formulation in the pharmaceutical sciences. But if we focus on this picture, we come to know that these capsules contain certain DNA type of a structure. Double helical structures are evident from the picture. So these structures are again come from the first part, that is the fragmentation. So now this part mainly concerned with isolation or separation of DNA, because DNA, when we come to know that the central dogma of life, which consists of DNA, RNA and protein. So when we are going to separate DNA from the sources, identification of DNA is the specific part, and that DNA on replication, translation, finally generate a specific protein, and that protein is actually responsible for each and every activity of the body. It is the truth. In case of drug also, we study that drug receptor interaction, and that receptor is nothing but a protein. So in this case, we come to know that for each and every activity, the proteins are responsible. Either they may be hormone, neurotransmitters. So wherever the sequence of amino acids are there, or amino acids on their anabolic path going to form these types of sequences which are correlated with directly, indirectly with the proteins. So protein is the major class, and as far as disease are concerned, they may be a disorder. So it is the metabolic kind of a disorder, like in case of the diabetes mellitus, insufficiency of insulin. So again, with the help of recombinant DNA technology, which is a part of the tools, we are going to form insulin. So as an introduction, we can say that it is the area of biology that uses the living processes, organisms or systems to manufacture the products or technology intended to improve the quality of human life, which is our ultimate aim as the person of health sciences. Depending on the technology, tools and the application involved, biotechnology can overlap with molecular biology, bionics, bioengineering, genetic engineering and nanotechnology. So sometimes that proteins are also known as nano machines, because they can generate number of proteins through the process of recombinant DNA technology. Now the history part. So as a history of the biotechnology, we come to know that a certain a microorganism like yeast. So there are used, these type of organisms are used in the history so many years ago for the case of the fermentation. So fermentation is a kind of process which undergoes in presence of organisms, microorganisms. So for example, the case of milk is there. So milk is the product, and then we can form curd, another type of the products which are nothing but the case of a fermentation. In case of the pharmaceutical sciences, we come to know that herbal drug separation method. So in that also the fermentation is there. Ayurvedic formulations are there like Ashwa, Aristha. So these type of formulations are result from a fermentation, because in that process what happen, suppose you have a crude drug and that powdered drug is moistened with some liquid, maybe the water, okay, and it is kept under anaerobic conditions, then it undergoes, or the microorganisms are going to develop in that mixture, and soon they undergo ferment, or they will give CO2 and other things, and then finally a liquid is formed which is nothing but alcohol. It is the output of the fermentation, and that alcohol is going to utilize for extraction of the phytomolecules from the plant. Okay, so it is the example of again a fermentation. Now in this case what happened? The biotechnology and the pharmaceutical industry. Now these are the products like antibodies, nucleic acid products, and the vaccines. These are the products, or these are also known as biologics. This is the new range of the product from the pharmaceutical sciences. So these are also known as biologics, because we know that from the case of the biomolecules, when there is a smooth homeostasis inside the body, we don't need any drug or any supplement, health supplement also. But when the condition of insufficiency in the form of certain protein occurs, then we require it. So now if we are able to make such a big structure, because if we compare our synthetic drug molecules from the structure of protein, they are approximately 1000 times larger, the protein molecules, from the drug structures. So such kind of large molecules or the macromolecules are going to form with the help of pharmaceutical biotechnology. And how they are going to form? This is the case of the pharmaceutical industry. So how it works? Here is the picture. So cells are removed from the patient, as in case of COVID-19 it is also happens when the process of the vaccination is now undergoing. But when the vaccine is going to form in the Serum Institute of India or Bharat Biotech, they used to separate that part from the patient. The cells are removed from the patient. Second stage is in the laboratory, a virus is altered so that it cannot reproduce. Third stage is a gene is inserted into the virus, a gene, that is the gene of interest. Sequencing is there, electrophoresis is there. So from the separation, we are going to insert a gene. The altered virus is mixed with the cells from the patient. Fifth stage, the cells from the patient become genetically altered. Sixth one, the altered cells are injected into the patient. And finally, the genetic altered cell produce the desired protein or hormone. This is our ultimate aim. Whatever we are doing, we are going to generate that protein which is under the deficiency or scarcity inside the body. And when we are going to generate it from the process, this is known as immunization, when it is going through with the help of the vaccines. Next one is application in pharmacy. So this type of science, or we can say this type of the product in the form of a monoclonal antibodies or interferons, interleukins, because these are all are protein in nature, okay, or the major component is protein, okay. So when we are going to form such kind of molecules, then we can encounter the weakness in the cancer patient, for example in case of oncology, metabolic disorders, or the disorders of musculoskeletal system, rheumatoid arthritis itself. Because if we are going to form that specific type of protein, then we can encounter several diseases and disorders inside the body. So as it is the introduction part, now our focus is on the tools for the biotechnology, or what are the techniques which we are going to use in biotechnology to get our desired product. So first one is enzyme immobilization. Enzyme immobilization. So from the word we come to know that the enzyme is going to immobilize. This means that we are going to stop the enzyme, immobilize it, and we are going to repeatedly use in different batches, because we know that the enzymes are nothing but biocatalyst. Enzymes are biocatalyst, and the working of catalyst is what? It is used to increase the rate of reaction. And when we are going to entrap or we are going to immobilize that enzyme, it means that we can use the same enzyme in different batches, because the catalyst itself is not going to take part in the reaction, means its quantity is not going to consume, and when its quantity is not going to consume, we can use it further in the different batches. So this is the technique from which we can use. So here are the four methods. First one is entrapment, second one is the carrier bound, and the third one is the cross linking. The carrier bound is a surface phenomena like adsorption. Entrapment means something is going to entrap in the matrix made up of cellulose and other material. The cross linking means that when the enzyme is going to adsorb and going to attach with the receptor or the certain protein, they are going to form the bond, like the ionic bond, covalent bond. You see it. So here, the introduction part, as the enzymes are the biological catalysts that promote the rate of reaction but are not themselves consumed in the reaction, they may be used in long-term use. They may be used repeatedly as they or as far as they may be in the active form. Second point is that, however, in most of the processes, enzymes are mixed in a solution with a substrate and cannot be economically recovered after the reaction and were generally wasted. Thus, there is an incentive to use enzymes in an immobilized or insolubilized form so that they may be retained in the biochemical reactor for further catalysis. So our aim is what? We want to save our enzyme for further process of catalysis. Means for the next batch, we want to save our enzyme. So for that, we have to use a technique which is known as enzyme immobilization. Now what is that technique? So one example is there. When we are going to immobilize yeast cell, for example, okay. So for that you need CaCl2, solution sodium alginate, and when the solution of sodium alginate is mixed with yeast cell, that solution when passed through a syringe in the solution of CaCl2, then the formation of beads occur. Beads, and that beads are nothing but the case of entrapment, that your yeast cell are going to entrap in sodium alginate with the help of CaCl2 solution inside a bead. So in this technique what happens? The enzyme immobilization is a process of confining the enzyme molecule to a solid support, which a substrate is passed and converted to the product. Because when you are going to immobilize the enzyme and your substrate is passed over it, meantime it is going to form the product and your enzyme is again free for the further catalysis part. The process whereby the movement of the enzyme cells and organelles etc. in space is completely or severely restricted, usually resulting in a water insoluble form of enzyme. So an immobilized enzyme is one whose movement in the space has been restricted either completely or to a small limited region. So what is the need for immobilization? Why it is required? So first point is that we need that enzyme for the next reaction. Second point is recycling or repeated use. Third point is to improve the cost efficiency of the process. Next one is to enhance stability, or next one is use as control release agent, the ability to stop the reactions rapidly by removing the enzyme from the reaction solution or vice versa. And last one is allow development of multi-enzyme reaction system. So it is important, multi-enzyme reaction system. Means if we want to use number of enzymes in a reaction, then with the help of this technique we can immobilize them and can use as a multi-enzyme system. So this is the case when the matrix is formed. It may be of agarose or cellulose. Now these are the methods. First one is the carrier binding, the cross linking and the entrapment. In case of the carrier binding, the physical adsorption is there, ionic bonding is there, or covalent bonding is there. Means the carrier, with the carrier the molecules are going to form bonding. In case of entrapment, lattice type is there, and this is somewhat known as micro encapsulation also. The carrier binding with the help of this. So here is a picture. This is a nice representation how the process is going on. So in this case what happens? It is the porous solid support and the enzyme is there which is going to adsorb on this. This is the adsorb enzyme on the support as we are observing from the diagram. This is the support over the enzyme, and this enzyme is going to cross link, means they are going to form certain type of bond like the covalent ionic bond, and they are going to be enzyme immobilized in a network form. So this is now the case of biosensor. As far as the lecture is going on, first part we have discussed about the introduction of biotechnology, what are the case of biotechnology and in pharmaceutical sciences mainly what it is going to concern. In second part we have discussed about the immobilization of enzyme. Why it is important? Because in whole metabolic process, or we can say that biochemical process, enzyme are the key mediators, or we can say that they have the key role. They have the key role in the conversion of one molecule to another. Now the case of biosensors, it is also a new technique, or we can say it is now widely used to sense so many aspects of human body. Simple example is the biometric attendance, what we are going to do in our offices. Next example is in case of India, when we are going to form our Aadhaar card, they used to take our fingerprints and scanning the retina. It is also the example of this technique. Or we can say biosensor, they are going to sense our biological response. So here is the theme picture. It is showing that it is a target, one bioreceptor is there, and here is a transducer which is going to amplify that response in the form of a digital signal, and here we are going to make a signal, or we can generate a value. For example, estimation of blood glucose level with the help of glucometer. It is also the example of biosensor, or we can say it is a biotechnological product. Or in case of pregnancy, we are going to see the test of pregnancy. So the kit is there which having the bioreceptors. The sensor that integrates a biological element with a physicochemical transducer to produce an electronic signal proportional to a single analyte, which is then conveyed to a detector. So this is the theme of biosensor, that when signals are generated from the bioreceptors with the inputs of a biological element, and that physicochemical transducer means they are going to take our physical response, like which is the instrument used for checking the temperature outside the campus. So it is the instrument used to check your body temperature. So it is another example of biosensor. So he is the man who discovers the process, the Professor Leland C. Clark. Life journey is 1918 to 2005. Now, it is the picture which is showing how the biosensor works. First part is our samples. So samples may be cell culture, samples may be human samples like the blood, urine or saliva. Samples may be food samples or environmental samples like the air, water, soil, vegetation. Next samples are the transducers. These may be a combination. Actually, first part we need bioreceptors like nucleic acid, cells, antibodies. In case of a pregnancy kit, what we are getting, antibodies, enzymes. So this is the interface of the sample with the bioreceptors, and when this interaction occurs, when urine sample is going to interact with antibodies in case of a pregnancy kit, then certain type of signal is generated in the form which is the electrical interface. So for that purpose, the electrodes are present, or nanoparticles are present, or nanowire array are present, or FET devices are there for the catching that signals. And then the last part, which is amplification, with the diodes, they are going to amplify, and the signal processor generates a display which is electrochronically monitored with the help of a monitor on the desktop. So it may be a graph, or finally after the calculation it will be a digital value. Now this is the outlay. Substrate should be present, then the membrane, immobilizing center, reaction is there, product form, membrane, product, transducer, signal, amplification, and finally digital readout. Now the characteristics of biosensor, what are the major characteristics or what they should contain? First one is response time, because as we know that the biological sample have the short half-life, or their shelf life is also low. So when the response time is too large, the sample may be degraded, so the reading may be altered, or we can say a false reading. In the similar manner, linearity, sensitivity and selectivity should be checked out. Now, as a principle of the biosensor, we come to know that passing of analyte through the membrane, reaction of analyte with the biological material, it is the second step, formation of the product, passing of the formed product through membrane, reaching of the product to the sensor transducer, the collection of signal, amplification and digital readout. So, from the short picture we can see that analyte is there, transducer is there and readout in the form of different type of signaling, it is there. So, this is again the examples of biosensors. So, the main part is micro electrode, chamber is there, substrate is there and micro syringe is there. What we are observing in case of a glucometer, when the person's pinhole is there, blood comes out from that pinhole, and when you are going to touch that strip from the blood drop, it is going to suck inside the strip, which is the function of micro syringe, and then the process of receptor and amplification of the signal is undergoes and the reading will come out. The further examples are there. For example, a pregnancy kit where human chorionic gonadotropin protein, which is a hormone which is used in this antibody form, and infectious disease biosensor for this one. Now, it is the estimation of blood glucose. So, what in this cycle actually happens? This is the membrane 1, membrane 2, membrane 3 is there. So, what happens? The glucose comes inside the membrane 1 and in the membrane 2 what is going to happen? The glucose is going to generate into gluconolactone and these are the mediators FAD and FADH2, and this undergoes the formation of H2O2 and O2 which finally going to liberate 2 electrons. So, now these 2 electrons are responsible for the generation of the signals. As a whole reaction we can say that the glucose on oxidation with the help of enzyme glucose oxidase going to form gluconic acid and hydrogen peroxide. This hydrogen peroxide undergoes the separation of hydrogen and oxygen with the liberation of 2 electrons. Now, these 2 electrons are going to be detected by a detector inside it and going to amplify the signal, which is finally going to generate a digital reading. Now, the next part. So, up to this we come to know that introduction of biotechnology, enzyme immobilization and biosensors. Now, the next technique is the protein engineering. Next technique is protein engineering. So, this is the major part. What we can say in the pharmaceutical sciences, health sciences, if this work is going to enhance day by day, then number of diseases or ailments or disorders are going to be defeated by mankind. So, protein engineering, why it is known as engineering? Okay, so it is also a question. Protein engineering, biological sciences, engineering sciences, doctors, engineers going to combine their work. So, what does it mean? Because to form such a big, larger macromolecule, we need a specific type of technique or mechanical or electrical processes which are provided by our engineering sciences. How? Here is the process. It is the process of the protein engineering where the study starts with sequencing, mechanism and structure of modeling, dynamics is there from the native enzyme when the production of enzyme is going to be discussed. This is site directed mutagenesis, focus mutagenesis, random mutagenesis. It is a type of, or we can say that it is a technique of protein engineering, mutagenesis, which is finally generate number of proteins or improved enzymes, because we know that all enzymes are protein and each biochemical event require enzyme. So, if we are going to generate the number of enzymes with the help of such techniques, then it will be very useful for us, because for each and every biochemical reaction there is an enzyme which is responsible. The definition part. So protein engineering can be defined as the modification of protein structure with recombinant DNA technology or chemical treatment to get a desirable function for better use in medicine, industry and agriculture. So it is a vast field, biotechnology, but here we are going to discuss pharmaceutical biotechnology, so mainly concerned with the proteins which are of a therapeutic importance. Objective of this is to generate a specific kind of proteins or the enzyme which are responsible for the conversion of a specific type of biochemical event. So for that, whatever our product is going to generate, it should be robust, good shelf life, good stability of the product is required. This is rationale. Next one is basic assumption of the protein engineering. So for that, what is the important part is that we are going to separate a specific gene. What we are going to say, it is the part of DNA, the fragment of DNA, or we can say that our gene of interest, and that fragment is finally going to generate a specific protein or enzyme. These are the steps. Now, how we come to know that it is a specific type of protein? How we can say that? From the lecture of biomolecule, we know that proteins are of three types: simple protein, conjugated protein, derived protein. But how we come to know that that protein is containing that specific structure? For example, collagen, it contains glycine, leucine, isoleucine. How we come to know that? So the technique is NMR, that is nuclear magnetic resonance and X-ray crystallography. With the help of these techniques, we actually get the 3D structure of protein, and from that we come to know that it is a specific protein having the specific function. So here is an example of the penicillin for which a Nobel Prize was given. Another example, myoglobin. So this is the structure, ribbon-like structure. We are going to represent such a big molecule with such type of structure. Here is what are the central molecule, what are the functional groups. All the things are going to be mixed up because this is the quaternary structure. Primary structure is there, secondary structure is there, tertiary structure is there, and this is the quaternary structure. This is the laboratory for the synthesis of the protein. So in case of the protein engineering, recombinant DNA technology is already incorporated, because without that technique it is not going to be completed. Our aim is going to form the specific protein, but that protein having the encoded information in a specific gene, and when that specific gene of interest is going to be isolated or it is going to be produced in multiple times with the help of recombinant DNA technology, then only this process can be completed, that we can get a specific protein in bulk quantity. So here are the methods. First one is mutagenesis, second one is selection, and third one is recombinant DNA technology, which is more useful. In case these are the achievement, when we are talking about what are the achievement of the protein engineering or recombinant DNA technology. So insulin, it consists of A and B chains are linked with C peptide, 35 amino acid. It was shown that a sequence of 6 amino acid and C peptide was adequate for the linking function. So insulin is the major product of protein engineering and recombinant DNA technology itself. Besides this, the two method is, first one is mutagenesis. Mutagenesis is, and selection can be effectively utilized for improving a specific property of enzyme. So for that, a variety of methods are used in protein engineering, such as this one is The process is in vitro mutagenesis using synthetic oligonucleotides and synthesis of complete modified gene de novo synthesis. So these two processes are used in case of gene modification. This is already we have discussed. Now, the next one is after the protein engineering, we come to know that the production of enzyme, how it can take place. So in the first part, we have discussed introduction. In second part, we have discussed about enzyme immobilization. In the third part, the protein engineering. And now the fourth one is the production of enzyme. And fifth also we have already discussed, that is biosynthesis. Now in case of enzyme, all enzymes are protein, and as we have already discussed about the protein engineering, means when we are able to separate a specific gene which is having the codonic information for a specific type of protein, then we can also able to generate enzyme. How they are going to generate? This is one picture which is elaborating the process. Input parameters are there like the substrate, physical parameter, components, metabolic event, regulatory mechanisms, output parameters and metabolic process finally. So this process having some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages like this is rapid and stability, and this is increased or it can give a increased yield with the help of genetic engineering. And disadvantages like this is allergenic and expensive. Now, this is the process or the flow chart of the production of enzyme. Like first one is screening. Screening means what? The enzyme which is of our interest, what we are going to form. For that we have to separate a specific gene of interest, and that screening choosing an appropriate microorganism for the desired enzyme also, because microorganisms are going to produce enzyme. So for that, first of all, if we are not doing the process by rDNA, we can choose the process of selection of microorganism. Second one is modification, that is the possible application of genetic engineering to improve the microbial strain. Third one is laboratory scale pilot plant to determine the optimum conditions for the growth of microorganism, and the pilot plant. Now what is the pilot plant actually? When our study is going to transfer from laboratory scale to the commercial scale, or we can say that our study is going to be enhanced. Whatever the study or the experiment we have done at the laboratory level, we are finding some good results. We have a good process, a protocol is there, but for the commercialization we need the practical set bulk level. So it is the intermediate level between the commercial level and the laboratory level. This is known as pilot plant, and finally the process is transferred to industrial scale fermenter. So this is a diagram which is showing the selection and high yield of the process. Now it is the flow chart, how the process begins. So the first step is selection of microbial culture, second one is propagation, third one is fermentation, and from the fermentation or after the fermentation, because it is the microbial reactions occurs, and then when the reaction time period is over, it is the case which is similar to synthetic chemistry also, or in case of extraction and isolation we are again going to separate the things. Means when the process of reaction has completed, we have to stop the reactor or the bioreactor or the extractor, whatever we are using in our process. In this case it is fermenter. The separation of two things are there, that is first one is extracellular, second one is intracellular product. So extracellular product are observed on the supernatant layer, whereas the intracellular product are the case of cell biomass. So first of all we will discuss about the extracellular products. So after vacuum evaporation and ultrafiltration, because these are the products which need ultrafiltration, we get a layer which is known as liquid enzyme concentrate, and this layer on treatment with sodium sulfate and ammonium sulfate going to precipitate this on further filtration or addition of stabilizer in the liquids or vacuum drying, the product are going to be packed. In the similar manner, from this leg side, intercellular product are there. There are the cell biomass. This biomass after solubilization and disintegration going to give separation of solid or liquid, and this on enzyme concentrate, that is a part of cell debris, the precipitation, purification, stabilization, drying and packaging. So whatever the product are there, whatever the product of our interest are there, from both the legs will get the products. Now it is a case of recombinant DNA technology, which is the key tool in biotechnology. Without this technique, which is DNA technology, the whole process of protein engineering, production of enzyme will not be completed or sufficiently completed, or the products are not allowed, because this is the main machinery which is going to amplify the gene of interest. How? So the first step we are considering the example of the insulin. So human chromosome is there. Okay, so one study is on the human genome study already completed. From that library we will separate out the gene of interest, which is in this case insulin gene. With the help of restriction enzyme, it is incorporated into bacterial plasmid. Restriction enzyme cleave insulin gene from the chromosome and create the corresponding gap in bacterial plasmid. This on cleave insulin gene is placed with this one. The cleaved bacterial plasmid with the sticky end match those insulin gene. A small portion of the plasmid is shown. So that on that part the gene of interest is going to be attached with the help of DNA ligase. DNA ligase join the sticky end of the insulin gene and the plasmid DNA, and this is transformed. The transformed plasmid is inserted into the bacterial cell, and this bacterial cell undergoes mitosis, creating many bacterial clones containing the insulin gene, and in that part the insulin gene inserted into the plasmid export insulin, which can be collected for human use. So in this way that small part or gene of interest is going to be multiplied, and finally it is used for the synthesis of protein or the hormone, that is insulin. So this is about rDNA technology. Now the next part is the polymerase chain reaction. The polymerase chain reaction. So up to this part we come to know that what are the introduction of the biotechnology, how it is useful for us. In second part we have discussed about enzyme immobilization. In the third part we have discussed about biosensors, what are biosensors, how they are going to be used. In the next part we have discussed about the protein engineering, what are the component of protein engineering and how it is useful to us. And in the last part we have discussed about recombinant DNA technology. Now it is the part which is known as the polymerase chain reaction, or in short it is known as PCR. So what it is? The PCR is a technique that takes a specific sequence of DNA of a small amount and amplifies it to be used for further testing, or it is a in vitro technique. So this is again a process which can amplify our biologics. How? Because it is a technique that takes a specific sequence of DNA, means that gene, of a small amount and amplifies it to be used for further testing. So what the process is going inside? This is again a process of amplification. As a history of PCR, the polymerase chain reaction, in 1983 the process is started, and Dr. Kary Müller he is also known as father of this, developed the PCR technique. In 1985, the first publication of PCR by the Features Corporation appears in the Science. In 1986, the purified Taq polymerase is first used in the PCR. It is having the role, the Taq polymerase. In 1988, the Perkin-Elmer, it is an international company, and it is going to generate so many sophisticated instruments like HPLC, GLC, mass chromatography, or spectrophotometers. And in 1988, the Perkin-Elmer introduces automated thermal cycler. In 1989, science declares Taq polymerase a molecule of the year because it is revolutionized the process. How? In 1990, the amplification and detection of specific DNA sequences using a fluorescent DNA binding dye, laying the foundation for future real-time or the kinetic PCR. Next one, in 1991, RT-PCR is developed using a single thermostable PCR polymerase facilitating diagnostic tests or RNA viruses. Dr. Kary Mullis shares Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1993 for this technology. Now, what are the conditions for the conduction of PCR? First one is denaturation of dsDNA template. Second one is annealing of the primers. Third one is extension as DNA molecules. Now, denaturation. So, what is denaturation? It is the process which is similar to the DNA replication first part. So, this is the sequencing which is going to be separated. Next one is annealing. So, this is reverse primer from 3' to 5', forward primer from 3' to 5'. Now, here is the function of the Taq polymerase. So, what is going to do? It is going to incorporate the nucleotide which is selective for the process or for what we are going to amplify, that is the polymerase chain reaction, our aim PCR. So, here is a cycle. This is a graph between the temperature and the time, and it is showing annealing, extension and this part, and the temperature 40, 50, 60 or up to 100. Now, the products of extension, these are the products. Now, in short, what it is doing overall, or what is the process of PCR as a whole study. So, what we are seeing, this is the sequence, or we want to generate the number of copies of this sequence. So, with the help of this process, in a very short period of time, number of copies of that particular sequence what we are required is generated. Now, what are the chemical component? What we need in this process is magnesium chloride 5 to 2.5 millimole, buffer pH we require is 8.3 or 8.8, 8.3 to 8.8. DTNP 20 to 200 micromolar concentration, primers 0.1 to 0.5 micromolar concentration, DNA polymerase 1 to 2.5 units, and target DNA that is less than 1 microgram. Now, these are the basic requirement. What are the basic requirement? First one is DNA sequence of the target region must be known. Without this, the process cannot be initiated, because whatever we have discussed in so far study about recombinant DNA technology, about the protein engineering, at least we should able to identify our gene of interest. If we are not going to separate that part, the whole story of pharmaceutical biotechnology will not be completed, or we can say it will not initiate. Primers, the typically 20 to 30 bases and sizes. This these can be readily produced by the commercial companies and can also be prepared using DNA synthesizer. So for that gene of interest, we have so many sources. Okay, so gene library is there. So many sources are there for their seed level, and then we can multiply them with the help of these techniques. The thermostable DNA polymerase, for example, the Taq polymerase, this is essential for this, which is not inactivated by heat up to 95 degrees centigrade. So Taq polymerase of high quality required DNA thermal cycler machine, which can be programmed to carry out heating and cooling of samples over a number of cycles. So it is again the instrument for in which you are going to put your samples. After a certain period of time, it is going to generate number of copies. So this is the instrumentation. These are the basic parts of the instrument. How the sample is going to be placed inside the instrument, and we have to wait for the readings. So these techniques are important. This is the separation part, and this is what we are going to conclude. So in this study, we come to know that the biotechnology is a branch which is concerned with the separation of DNA or our gene of interest. That gene of interest is going to be separated with the help of restricted enzyme in the plasmid, and that plasmid put inside the host cell, and that it is going to replicate, or we can say it is going to be generated in number of copies, clones, and that process is again used in protein biosynthesis or protein engineering part, and that protein part is an industrial process, protein engineering, and that sequence is on amplifying going to produce a specific protein, and that specific protein is used as a therapy. For example, immunotherapy. For that we need to form immunoglobulins with the help of protein engineering. Then we come to know that for each and every biochemical process we need an enzyme. So that enzyme should be immobilized so that we can use same enzyme, or even we can use the multiple enzyme system in the processes, or for again and again same complex or same enzyme system for different batches. So enzyme immobilization is required, and for that we have discussed the process of yeast cell, how they are going to be entrapped inside the sodium alginate in the solution of calcium chloride, and the formation of bead occurs. This is the process of entrapment or immobilization of enzyme. Then we have discussed about biosensor parts. For the biosensor we require sample, and that sample may be a cell culture, may be environmental sample, may be a human sample like saliva, urine, blood, and that going to interact with different receptors, which are the bioreceptors, maybe antibodies, maybe other things, and that on combining with the electrodes going to generate signals, and that signal on amplification with the help of the transducer going to generate a graph or a digital value. This is the mechanism of biosensors, and the major output is glucometer, the pregnancy testing kit, and several other medical devices used for biometric examinations. In the next part we have discussed about genetic engineering, or we can say that recombinant DNA technology, where separation of gene and their amplification or the cloning process is discussed. In the next part we have discussed about PCR technique. why this technique is important and what are the important aspect of the techniques. So PCR is again polymerase chain reaction, and it requires our sequence of interest. That sequence of interest in a short period of time going to generate number of copies, and that copies are our source for the further analysis purpose. Now in this way, the pharmaceutical biotechnology gives us so many tools, so many techniques, so that we can generate our new generation drugs or biologics. It is in short known as biologics, and one company is there, Amazon, and that is producing these drugs in the bulk, and these drugs are the replacement of our total therapy, because only these molecules are actually responsible for disorders, because what we are going to discuss in disorder, our drug is what? It can alter the pathophysiological condition of the body as per the definition of drug by WHO. So these molecules are maybe enzyme inhibitors, maybe enzyme modulator, stimulator, whatever. The specific mechanism is there at the membrane level, receptor level, nuclear receptor level, or the process of the metabolic disorders, such in the case of HMG coenzyme inhibitors, that it is a lipid lowering drug in that case. But in case of the insulin, diabetes mellitus, because insulin is a very big molecule, it is containing 51 amino acids, side chain A, chain B, 20 amino acid and 31 amino acid. So this complex is very big, this is a very big structure. How we can synthesize it in the laboratory? But with the help of recombinant DNA technology, we can separate it out as a gene of interest from the human chromosome, and that in the plasmid going to attach, and in the E. coli cell it is going to be cloned in the number of copies, and that copies are again used for protein engineering and going to produce insulin in bulk, and that insulin is used in the diabetes, although it is used in the last stages, but wherever it is the ultimate requirement, we have to use it. But the new theme is that the protein are the ultimate macromolecule which are responsible for many of the disorders, diseases, and number of the condition which occurs in the body due to insufficiency or the scarcity of certain type of specific proteins, because for each and every action we require a specific protein. This is the ultimate thing. So this branch is going to generate number of proteins with the help of these techniques, and that proteins are further utilized for mankind. For example, we can say that, or we can summarize our study from this slide. Okay, so because if we compare our synthetic process from this process, how this process is different from our synthetic chemistry, how it is going to different from our herbal extraction and isolation, or how it is different from the production of antibiotics also. So the microbial culture is there. In case of microbiology also we are going to discuss it, the propagation and fermentation and separation. So the basic work, or we can say that common work in all the branches, the pharmaceutical chemistry or herbal drug technology or microbiology or the pharmaceutical biotechnology, the common work is separation when the reaction is completed. So this is the basic chemistry part, but the core part is what? The core part is how you can able to control the reaction, how you can able to separate the extract of interest, and how you are able to generate the quantity of that particular antibiotic in microorganisms, or you can monitor the content and in this case how you can able to generate the specific proteins. This is the production of enzyme. So for that we have to choose a microorganism, and with the help of laboratory scale, pilot scale and industrial scale we can generate it in the bulk. In this case, for example, in this is the case of biosensor. So for in this case you need a passing of analyte through a membrane, because it is having the receptors. The major slide is this. In this slide you can say that, or you can see that the samples are cell cultures, human sample, blood, urine or saliva, food samples are there, environmental samples are there, air, water, soil and vegetation samples are there, and this are going to react with nucleic acid, cells, antibodies and enzyme, and with the help of electrical interfaces they are going to generate the electronic system. So in this way the biotechnology is going to generate number of products for the mankind, and that products are going to be utilized in many ways. So thank you all for your attention, and it's my pleasure to be here in digital teaching. Thank you all.